You do the thing, but you do it in order to be seen. No good deed goes unpublished. Let's look at the text that that gives rise to this definition. But first, do you all know Radio Free Babylon? It's kind of an edgy Christian site, and for a while, maybe 10, 15 years ago, they ran a Coffee with Jesus series, and this is one of those Coffee with Jesus strips. I'm going to fast and pray for my country, Jesus, that we will make the right choices. Yeah, Kevin, I saw that on your Facebook page. You also tweeted about it. Well, I was hoping to encourage others to do the same, Jesus. And I hope they do, Kevin. And maybe they'll keep it to themselves like you're supposed to, right? This is obviously tapping into the passage we're about to read, so let's go ahead and read it. So when you give to the needy, do not announce it with trumpets, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and on the streets, to be honored by others. Truly, I tell you, they have received their reward. I love this photo. She just seems like the best person to tell us how to keep a secret. But when you give to the needy, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your giving may be in secret. And then your Father, who sees what is done in secret, will reward you. So the first of the three activities, the three duties of faith in Judaism and this Jewish Christianity, is give alms. And this taps into, as I said in the prep guide, a duty of Jewish piety at the time. And I don't use piety pejoratively. Jewish practice of faithfulness and devoutness at the time would have included alms. And so Jesus is taking something that they would suppose they're already supposed to do. And this is why translations say when. The word used can be translated if, but it's very clearly, but if you give to the needy, and obviously you do, so the translators are just going with when. But when you give to the needy, because it's a matter of course, it's a matter of assumption that his audience gives to the poor. Now, that's not a strong assumption in every culture, and certainly not a strong assumption across our culture, but it would have been a part of daily piety, daily devoutness among the Jews of Jesus's time. And the question isn't, therefore, will you give? The question is, why will you give? Right? And the idea of giving the alms is not a problem. The idea of giving it and showing it in order to be seen by people, a la Costanza, is the target here. So there's no two-facedness, really. It's simply the motive is in question for Jesus. And that's going to be the pattern for all three acts of piety, which go in this passage, go almsgiving, prayer, and fasting. They're going to be the 1, 2, 3 of Jesus's object lesson in hypocrisy, and they're going to be consecutive and very much like one another. Now, it happens that one of the most famous passages in all the Bible, one that gets repeated in a whole lot of churches and congregations every Sunday, is the Lord's Prayer. We will get to it, but the Lord's Prayer is something of a digression from this 1, 2, 3 of almsgiving, prayer, and fasting, as we'll see in just a moment. So thus far, and I'm going to sort of go swiftly through the three, but thus far we've got, I assume that you give alms, Jesus says. When you give alms, don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your giving may be in secret, right? I put a trumpet up. There is some historical questioning about whether some people actually blew trumpets in order to draw attention to their giving. And I happen to be, as I've said earlier, a sports fan, and there's a feed, a kind of fan group on Facebook where if somebody gives a certain amount into the chat so that people can get put forward in line, if they're asking questions of the people running the show, they can put money in and get put in the front of the line. And if somebody gives a big enough gift, they have to put on a helmet. The hosts have to put on a helmet of the Longhorns, the Texas Longhorns, and all this stuff. It gets a ding, ding, ding. There is some sense that with certain size gifts, there might have been a playing of the horns, so that it's not simply figurative, possibly. It is actually something that might have been practiced. One way or another, the message is the same, which is don't give in order to draw attention to your giving, right?